Okay. So the mantra that we will chant today is Maha Mantra, and we have Omkara Mantra also. So the Omkara Mantra, it is said that it is the first sound of the universe, and Maha Mantra, it is recommended by the great teachers, the Vedic scholars and philosophers, also that this is very much recommended for this age, this modern age. It is called Kali Yuga. I don't know if you have heard of it. There are four types of yugas. Like the first one is Satya Yuga, then Treta Yuga, then Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So out of these four, Kali Yuga is said to be really degraded position. That's where we are in right now. That's why we see people who are, manifesting their bad qualities very explicitly. But in Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, or Dwapara Yuga even, so the qualities of people were very high. The standards they followed were very high, and statistically the rates of crime were very very low or even zero in Satyuga almost. Still bad people always stay, but not comparatively it were very insignificant in those yugas. But in Kali Yuga it is already forecasted in Srimad Bhagavatam that this is degraded yuga. What we can do to get the minimal impact or try to get out of this impact is to focus on spirituality. Unless or until we are into the spiritual path, this material world will bring all the material miseries, which are very known fact to us already, correct? So one day we are happy, another day we are not so happy, and we seek for material happiness, thinking this will give us permanent happiness. But we should know already anything to do with material is temporary. Whether it's to do with our body, which is material, but the spirit inside, the soul, that is us, is spiritual. So whether the computer or the house or the car or even the relationship, the bodily relationship we have, so everything is temporary, correct? Only the spirit soul inside is permanent. Therefore we can't expect the ongoing or permanent happiness from something that is material. So it's simple as that. So logically that is proven also in so many stories which we read from the Vedas, other scriptures. So another thing I wanted to iterate is this is not religious focused classes. These are rather focused on the subject that is the human manual, or manual for humanity, that is Bhagavad Gita. So I haven't completely studied Bible or any other Quran or any other religious holy books. I've only graduated in Bhakti Shastri, which includes Bhagavad Gita and few other Vedic scriptures. So therefore, I am only focusing on what I learned, studied, and practice. Okay. So if you have any questions in terms of any other books, or any discrepancy that you find, you are welcome to convey that to me. I will try to answer if I know. Otherwise, I'll try to find out for you from my seniors or from the books that I read, etc. And again, this is a universal subject we are going to study, even though we will address Krishna or Arjuna and all, because it is from Bhagavad Gita. That is why we are going to talk about that. Otherwise, it's not that will be, I will be telling you that you need to do this or that. No, this is more like awakening oneself, awakening oneself to the spiritual path. And one of the ways to do is to learn the scripture from someone who has already experienced or learned. And I'm not saying I have fully experienced or fully learned. I'm saying from the acharya that who has transliterated this subject. Okay. So without the further delay, what I'll do is start with the Omkara mantra, and then I will explain Maha mantra. So far, any questions does anyone have? Okay, all right, I'll just move on then. So we will do some breathing exercise which are very good. So Kapalbhati, pranayam, and a few other breathing techniques there. But we will focus on simple breathing technique, which will help us to relax. And other thing is, there are rules and regulations for practicing Ashtanga yoga. So one of the yoga types is Ashtanga yoga. We are not going to go into that at all, but the Bhagavad Gita will teach us Ashtanga yoga. Don't worry. It's not about exercise, that yoga. This is more like the spiritual side of it. Okay. So there are four kinds of yoga. So karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, and bhakti yoga. So the topmost yoga is bhakti yoga. So the Ashtanga yoga, the pranayam, that's breathing exercise, breathing technique or breath control, these type of things would come under the umbrella of Ashtanga yoga. The sense control, mind control would also come under that umbrella. So karma yoga and jnana yoga. Jnana yoga also more like mind control, sense control, but more advanced level is Ashtanga yoga. And bhakti yoga, you don't have to control anything. So that's the specialty in bhakti yoga, or of bhakti yoga, because it has so much higher potency, because karma, jnana, and ashtanga are all still uh, so much so like material, not fully spiritual, if I have to say that. And it's not 100% spiritual, but bhakti yoga is 100% spiritual. Because why? The practitioner of these yogas would have some intention to attain material benefits. Therefore, it's not fully spiritual. They might follow spiritual path, but they want something material. Therefore, that's not fully spiritual. Correct? So it's all mixed. But bhakti is fully spiritual. Even though we might have material desires, but because we are practicing higher yoga or the topmost yoga, because of that reason, it becomes complete spiritual. Therefore, you don't have to strain yourself to study every scripture or study, or the sastras, and practice control, main control, sense control, breathing control. No, you don't have to do any of those. It will come eventually. Okay, all we need to do is endeavor, have that desire to learn and apply. Just have the desire only. So you just wish, okay, I just wish I wanted to do that. I want to learn. That's all you need. And second is make an endeavor. And then you will get everything eventually, because of the potency of this bhakti path. And that is why we practice mantra meditation, that is Maha Mantra meditation. And that Maha means greatest. So greatest of all mantras, Manaha and Trayate. That is two words coming from mantra. So that means controlling our mind through chanting some prayers. So that is mantra. So because Maha Mantra, which is greatest of all mantra, have so much potency, even if you don't focus 100% while chanting this Maha Mantra, even you don't have 100% faith or conviction, it still works. Like I give this example every time. You take a headache tablet, but I don't really recommend you to take a headache tablet, but I'm just giving you an example. So if you have this pain and you take a painkiller, and even though you don't know what the medicine comprises of, what are the chemical composition in it, you still take it, but it works. Correct? You don't have to be a doctor to take that medicine so that it can work on your body. No, it will still work. Similarly, this Maha Mantra will work like that. Even though you don't know what it is, how it works, or anything, it works on you. Okay, it works on your spiritual platform and material platform also. Even though you might not want material desires, but something you need materially, you have something in your mind that, for example, look, I wish I have a better car. It will get fulfilled also, even though you didn't ask for it, you didn't aim for it, that's not your intention, but it still works, because that's how it works, because of the connection you make between yourself and the supreme self. Okay. Because of that connection, higher connection, you will get that benediction automatically. And eventually you will also experience. So practicing this every day is highly recommended, this Maha Mantra meditation. And before we go to the Maha Mantra meditation, start with the breathing exercise. So sit down comfortably, whether it is on the floor or chair, doesn't matter, wherever you're comfortable to sit down. Just sit down with the shoulders down and back straight, and relax your tongue, mouth, jaw. Close your eyes. So what you can do is you can put your hands on Dhyana Mudra, which is this thumb finger and the index finger touching each other, the tip. Otherwise, you can do Prana Mudra, which is the last two fingers touching the thumb. But I would suggest use Dhyana Mudra because Prana Mudra has some rules and regulations. Again, this is coming under Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga is full of Yama Niyama. That means rules and regulation. But Bhakti Yoga, it doesn't have any of those. Just for our focus, because to help our mind to connect with something, we are trying to do some mudras. Hmm? But mantra meditation, we will use beats, chanting beats. So that will help us to correlate the mind and focus on the sound, vibration, and everything. So relax yourself and do three deep breathing. Okay, just inhale and exhale. So if you take a deep breath for 4 seconds, for example, or say, let's say 3 seconds, and then hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out for 5 seconds. So something like you have some counting going so that mind also can work out. See, this will help our cognitive skills, the correlation skills as well. So this will all help us improve those things so that so now we are very much used to this multitasking. So this kind of method will help us to relax, calm our mind because we do check the phone like 10 times every 10 seconds or 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. Every 5 minutes we check for 100 times whether I got a message or not. What is the update in the Facebook. I'm just giving you an example. Not all of you do that, but I'm just giving you an example. So because of those things, mind is so agitated, disturbed. The brain is working too hard for its capacity. So we are calming the mind, just relaxing. We are only doing two things at a time now, which is breathing in, holding, and out. That is one process, and another process counting. Okay, we're not giving too much work now for the brain. So again, breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can't do these steps, that's okay. Don't worry. You can do just 2, 2, 2. Breathe in 2 seconds. Hold 2 seconds and out 2 seconds. Depends on your capacity. So let's do a couple of more times. So when you breathe in, the stomach should come out. So like you're blowing the balloon. And then when you breathe out, that's when the stomach should go in. So you're pulling the abdomen in. That is the correct process of breathing, deep breathing exercise. So sometimes we do opposite, but this is the right way of doing it. But if you can't do that yet, but that's okay. You just breathe in and out. That's fine. So let's do it again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. So next few breathing, what we'll do is chant mantra Omkara mantra, okay? So how we do that is just breathe in, and then when we breathe out, we are doing Om like that. So just relaxed manner. Sometimes we tend to put pressure on the shoulders and especially the roof of the tongue, roof of the mouth. We always, tend to put the tongue touching the roof of the mouth. That's also giving some stress to the mouth and body or the face. So just relax everything, eyes, and just relax. Put your legs down, touching the ground, heads on the knees, or dhyana mudra if you can. Otherwise, prana mudra, whichever, or simply touching your knees, it's fine too. So what we do now is just breathe in. We do this a few times. So we are just doing Omkara mantra integrated with the breathing exercise. So our focus, the mind focus will increase. So just focus on the sound vibration, because these are sacred sound vibrations, transcendental. It's not just ordinary material sound or name. It's just transcendental. So let's do this a few more times. So breathing in. Breathing in. So if you can't do longer, it's okay. Whatever the amount of time you can spend in breathing or holding or exhaling, just do it in your own way. No pressure. It's just an exercise only. But if you keep practicing, we can hold it longer, inhale longer and exhale longer also. So your eyebrows, the eyes, everything should be relaxed. So not too much stress on any way, especially in between the eyebrows. Just relax. So breathing in, breathe out and say Om. We'll do a couple of more times. One more time. Okay. So what we do next is go to Maha Mantra chanting. Let's do that for 5 minutes or so. So I have this musical instrument, little karatal. So I'll just make music out of it. And again, I'm warning you, I'm not good at this singing or playing musical instruments yet, but hopefully I'll learn one day. So this Maha Mantra is Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the Maha Mantra that we will be chanting over and over again. This is repetitive. So this is again sacred sound vibration, which has higher potency than any other mantras. That is why it is nominated as and confirmed as Maha Mantra. So let's start. So I'll just make a simple tune and see if you can follow. If you can't, please just listen. It still gives you the benefits. Just pray to my spiritual master quickly. Om Vishnu Daya Krishna Sadaya Bhutana Srimad Jayatana Swami Namo Nama Acharya Padaya Nataya Kripa Padaya Gaura Kadadamadaya Nahra Gramdaya Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutana Srimad BhaktiVedanta Swami Namo Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtai Devsani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Okay, let's start. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now your turn, but I'll continue to sing, but this is how it works. One person leads and the other person follow exactly with the same tune how the first person sang. That's an etiquette. Sometimes audience will change the tune and sing, but that's not a right etiquette, but that's okay, because audience might not know how to sing, so they might make your own tune. That's still fine, generally. Okay, I'll continue. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the next one, what we do is we have this chanting beats. I know some of you are new, and therefore you might not have them. But if you are from Melton, you can get it from me. This is just chanting beats. So we are going to focus on this Maha Mantra chanting, and then just trying to relax our mind and and connect ourselves with the higher self. So that's the focus. So let's just do it. So how it works is with the chanting beats. If you need, again, I'm telling you, and if you are in Melton or even in Melbourne, somehow I can arrange that. I can give it to you. So we'll start with the first bead, not the head bead, but the first one. And we use the thumb and the middle finger, not the index, because it's representing self, false ego. That is I, me, mine, that kind of self-centric focus. And we are trying to get out of that bodily conception or consciousness. We rather want to be situated in the spiritual consciousness. That's why we are trying to avoid using this, so that that way we are making ourselves being humble to the spiritual energy, the supreme energy. So this is chanting of Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So for each bead, we chant that one time and then move on to second bead and then chant again. So we repeat this process for about 108 times. That's how many beads are there in one mala. And you can repeat this 108 times to multiple times. So if you make one full 108 times, that means one round. So you can do one round of chanting or 2 rounds depending on your time. Whatever the time you have, you can just do it. But other thing I wanted to tell you is that it doesn't have any hard and fast rules, as mentioned before, so you can chant anytime. Just try avoid taking these beads in the toilet or bathroom. But you can use your mouth, you can use your ears and still chant in the toilet or bathroom. That's not a problem. But just taking this tool, this paraphernalia or resource into toilet or bathroom is not recommended. But you can always chant when you're taking shower or anything, in cooking or driving or even in the toilet. So no problem. Okay, we'll continue for another few times, but you can do this at your own time later also. Every day morning 10 minutes, night 10 minutes is good to start off with. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, we'll stop here. So any questions? Okay, so shall we move to the Bhagavad Gita? So just wanted to ask Vishni Rajkumar and then Nija. So can you please advise your name? Just want to check if I have you already. Vishni, are you there? Oh, Ravneet. Okay. Thanks, Ravneet. And what about Vishni? So your name itself Vishni or some other name that you registered under? Okay, that's fine. So I'll try to share the screen. Ravneet, is this your first session? Okay. All right, so what we have covered so far is Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada, and two chapters we covered, almost two chapters. And also, I gave summary before the long break that we had, the school break. I covered the summary of what Bhagavad Gita is all about and what's the first chapter and second chapter is about. So, just a quick summary so that you can understand when we move on to the next verses. So, there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita and totally 700 verses. And first six chapters are Karma Yoga, and then middle six chapters are Bhakti Yoga, and the last six chapters are Jnana Yoga. So, Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna to his cousin and friend Arjuna, and Arjuna was supposed to fight his enemies in Kurukshetra war, but he became very much perplexed. He was confused whether or not he should fight, because who he is going to fight against is none other than his own kinsmen, like blood relatives, friends, and family members, teachers, and grandfather, and father-like figures. So he was very much hesitating. Should I have to do this ghastly task just because I wanted the kingdom? Is it correct? Is it not sinful? This is not righteous activity. So he was confused on that platform, that he was so much on the bodily platform. He was thinking himself as a kshatriya, and he was thinking himself as related to these army men. Because of this bodily connection he had, that is none other than nothing but false ego. Ego means our identity. True ego means real identity. False ego means our identity, that we think that we are Indian or Australian or American, or I am wife or husband or child, or something like that. So thinking about our bodily type and thinking, okay, this is who I am and this is how I am related to this society or nation or world, etc. And because of that consciousness, Arjuna was confused. And one who took birth has to die. This is known fact. And the spirit soul within the body will not die. Only the body will die. The spirit soul will move on to the next body based on his karma. So these things, it looks like Arjuna did not know. Although it looks like he did not know, but the truth is sometimes the Supreme Lord Krishna put one, especially his devotees, pure devotees like Arjuna, in such an ignorant position so that he can speak Bhagavad Gita, he can give the knowledge to the humanity through him. And there is an example that one time there was a mother-in-law and newly married daughter-in-law has come to her home, and there was a feast, serving the feast to the guests who have come to their home. That time the daughter-in-law doesn't know how to serve. She was putting little bit of sabzi, but little bit of rice, but plenty of sabzi. So this has to be corrected. But the mother-in-law was not sure how the daughter-in-law will react if she says something, because she is very new to the family. So she wanted to chastise daughter-in-law, but she can't directly do that. So she is chastising her own daughter, telling, because daughter also was serving the guests by serving the food to the guest. So mother-in-law was saying as loudly she is saying, "Hey daughter, what are you doing? You don't even know how to serve the food. Look at you, how you are serving. You are putting only little rice and more sabji. So that is not right way of serving. You need to do the opposite." So then daughter-in-law heard and realized, oh really? Okay, I just did a mistake. But then mother-in-law didn't know that was me, was chastising her daughter instead. So thinking like this, that she corrected herself. Similarly, when Arjuna was chastised, it's not that Arjuna actually did any mistake. It's us, for people, the common people to come. Krishna wanted to give this knowledge. That is why he spoke Bhagavad Gita. So he spoke the Sankhya Yoga, which is analysis of matter and the spirit. So he he explained in detail what is matter and what is spirit. So just to tell in a short term, put it in a nutshell. So the matter which is body or anything that is made of our body is made of pancha mahabhuta, right? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Anything that is made of material elements, these are the material elements, and anything that is made of material elements will not stay forever. That will perish. They are impermanent. They are temporary. But whereas the spirit soul, that is spiritual, they are eternal. The spirit souls are eternal, so they stay forever. So that is why Krishna was giving this knowledge to Arjuna, saying in the second chapter that don't worry, Arjuna. They, even if you think they will die, they will not die really. What happens is only their body will die in the war, but their soul will transfer. It is called transmigration. So Krishna will teach Arjuna the transmigration also, which are very basic philosophy, that one who is in the path of spirituality, or even one who is willing to know about the real truth about who am I, how am I connected to the material nature and the supreme energy, etc., they must know this through the authorized representative. What I was saying is, this first chapter, Arjuna was totally lamenting. He was totally complaining how he felt, how he feels, and why he doesn't want to fight against his own relatives. So he was more on the level of again bodily platform. It's called karmic platform. That means you're thinking there is a reaction for every action, which is true, absolutely true. But for every spiritual action, there is no reaction. So that we must know. But for every material action, there is a material reaction. Okay. So this knowledge one should learn through Bhagavad Gita. So the first chapter, so he was giving reasons why he should not fight, because he was worried about losing his relatives. So he was compassionate. That's why he was very soft hearted. That's why he was thinking this way. But on the other hand, the opposite army, Duryodhana, the Kaurava's side, they were always inimical towards Pandava's side. That is Arjuna, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula and Sahadeva. So Duryodhana and his brothers always very much inimical towards Pandavas. But not all brothers of Duryodhana, but most of the brothers were inimical. And Pandavas were never inimical towards Kauravas. They were very much, because they were all pure devotees, they were not thinking any, they didn't have any ill feeling towards their cousins. So when Duryodhana wanted this war to happen, Dhritarashtra, the father of Kauravas, did not stop, because he was born blind, and he was not only blind in the material eyes perspective, also his spiritual eyes also very much blind. If he had this knowledge of what is body and what is soul, and what is the connection between the body and the soul, and there is another person inside our heart is Paramatma or super soul. So if we know the connection between the soul and the super soul and the material nature, then one would not do any bad deeds. Especially being in the temporary king position, Dhritarashtra should know all this already. And his younger brother Vidura, he always gave counseling to Dhritarashtra that Dhritarashtra, brother, this is wrong. What you are doing is wrong. You should not support your ill sons. They are very much selfish and self-focused, and they wanted to occupy the kingdom just for enjoyment. They are not worried about the citizens or anything. They just wanted the fame and money, the wealth. But this Pandavas, if the kingdom goes to them, they will take care of the citizens, all the prajas, not just the humans, but also the animals, the trees. All the prajas will nicely be taken care of the Pandavas. So better leave the kingdom to them. And also, righteously, the kingdom belongs to Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is elder brother. He is the eldest of all brothers, Kauravas and Pandavas. So righteously, it belongs to him. Also, his father Pandu was the righteous king, even though he was younger brother to Dhritarashtra. he was the right uh, he has the rights, to be on the throne. He should be enthroned. That happened already, because one who is blind, they are not supposed to be in the kingdom, in the king's position. So that's why the king's position was given to Pandu, but he died prematurely. Therefore, the kingdom should have to pass it on to the Pandavas, that is first son Yudhishthira Maharaj, because they were very small at the time. So temporarily the kingdom was given to Dhritarashtra. So he was very much jealous of Pandavas. He was not jealous, enviousness, which is one level higher than jealous. Jealous means, oh, I don't have what you have, is jealous, being jealous. But enviousness means, okay, I don't have what you have, so I have to I will do something to get that from you. So I will make sure you also don't have that anymore. So that kind of ill feeling is being enviousness. That is being envious. So this is how these Kauravas were, including the father Dhritarashtra. Hmm. So he did not stop the Duryodhana to do, he did not stop Duryodhana from doing any ill deeds like poisoning them or killing them, putting fire lake, the firehouse, the lake house, preparing lake house to kill all of them. So they did all nasty things, occupying the land, and now fighting with them. So these things are punishable according to Arthashastra. So Dharma Shastra is what Arjuna was talking about. That means Arjuna was telling, oh, this, if I do this sinful activity which is killing others, means I will get sinful reaction. So I will go to hell. These are some reasons Arjuna was saying. So this means he was very much worried on the level of Dharma Shastra, but Artha Shastra means being going another level. These type of activities should be punishable only. Okay, like Draupadi's disrobing episode. These are the some of the episodes that are punishable. So that's why the war has taken place, and Krishna went as a peace messenger, Santi Doot. But still, Duryodhana did not agree. He wanted the fight to take place. So that's why the fight took place. But before the fight taking place, Arjuna wanted to see who are all assembled in the war, Kurukshetra battlefield, and then he saw all his relatives. Then he became very much worried. Oh no, I don't want to fight these people. So what do I do? So then he said, okay, Krishna, this is what I want to do. That is nothing. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight. So I'll just go. So then even he was ready to go to the forest and live by begging. Then Krishna chastised Arjuna very nicely, saying that, what are you talking about? You're Kshatriya, your job is to fight. Then how can you get out of your fighting thing? So you have to fight. That is your Kshatriya duty. Kshatriya dharma is to fight. Okay. So that is how Krishna taught Arjuna. So, and still Krishna in the second chapter, still he is teaching how to get out of this mental perplexion and etc. So I believe we were on verse number chapter 2, verse number 70 or something. I quickly share the screen and see. Okay, I believe we were on 70th verse. So अपूर्यमाणाम् अचलप्रदिस्तं समुद्रम् आप प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामयं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी. Translation: a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, they enter that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and the man and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So in this verse, Krishna, in this chapter, Krishna is totally advising, and the entire Bhagavad Gita will be like more question and answers only. Arjuna will ask questions and Krishna will answer them. It is very much relevant to us also. Even though we think Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita more than 5,500 years ago, how can it be relative to us? But it is still it can still be related to our current situation also, because we also have this disturbance in our mind whether to make this decision or that decision, how this decision will be favorable to me and the future. But when we are very much entangled in the material conception, material platform, our decisions will not be always right. But if we widen ourselves, if we go one dimension up, one or two dimensions up, and they say outside of the box type of thing. Yeah, that is exactly it is. You need to come outside of this bodily conception, come to the spiritual platform. Then you will know that, oh, absolutely, this path, if I make this decision, it will be favorable to my spiritual journey. Then I will make this decision. And otherwise, if it is only for material benefits, it will be temporary only. So we always need to centralize our spiritual journey, and not just the material journey. We also need to learn how to balance that. Okay. So here Krishna is talking about Siddha Pragya, that means one who is very much fixed in the consciousness. So Krishna is giving an analogy here. See, what happens when there is a monsoon rain, so the river will overflow. Then what happens? The river will enter the ocean. Anyway, the river will enter the ocean, but sometimes there will be more rain and therefore more water in the water bodies like river. That will, when that goes and enters into the ocean, what happens? The ocean was supposed to agitate, correct? Because sometimes you take a glass of water and mix it in the another glass of water. What happens? There is some agitation. Hmm? But with the ocean, because the ocean is so vast and wide, it won't get agitated. When the water enters from the river, it stays still. Okay, that means that is peaceful. The ocean is peaceful, correct? Similarly, if our mind doesn't get agitated when there are miseries come into our life, like sometimes we may lose the job, or sometimes we get sick, sometimes we might get insulted, we might be harassed by someone. So some other, whatever the situation is, what happens is when we are very much focused in the spiritual path, so these kind of material ailments, like whether it's related to our health or body, or mind is still material. Anything to do with these things, we will not get agitated, because our knowledge has now widened. We are very much awakened towards the spiritual knowledge, like through Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, whatever that throws at us, the material nature, we will not get agitated. So if we lost the job or lost something or sick, whatever, we understand that yes, this world, material world, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, verse 15, Dukkhalayam Ashaswadam. Yes, this material world is full of dukkha, means miseries. That is why it's called Dukkhalayam. Alayam means the place of or abode, right? So it's abode of miseries. And also it's Ashaswatam means not permanent, it's temporary. So this material world is temporary and that is full of miseries. Then this is what I will get, right? I already expect that. If you are always happy, that means, remember, that won't stay for long, correct? So we should know if something comes to us, anything bad or anything like that, we should know, yes, I already know that. But I don't know exactly what kind of bad things will come to me. But I know the material world will throw these type of things only. But only thing that is permanent and will give you full of bliss is this spiritual path. Okay, especially bhakti. The Jnana Yoga also spiritual path, but that's not fully blissful. That's only covers Sat and Siddh. The Jnana Yoga is just the knowledge, but the Ashtanga Yoga, it one level higher in the liberation in terms of spiritual path. But Bhakti Yoga is the full liberation. Liberation means not getting out of this material world only liberation. Liberation is also consciousness, how you feel. So something bad happens, you're still fine, like the ocean, that means we are liberated already. So verse number 71. Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumam sharati nishpraha nirmamo nirahankaraha sasantim adigachati. Translation. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. So this is also given. See, sometimes what happens when there is a bag of rice, the bird comes, they take only what they need and go. Okay, if there is a food, some animal come, they just take what they need. But only humans, when they see some material object, that's something there, they will take entire thing. They just don't think about just for now or just for me. They think about for the family or extended circle in a selfish way, not like in a selfless way. So we always endeavor for more than necessity, more than our necessity. Like I only need See, I only need this much wealth to survival. But who actually determines that boundary for the wealth? No one. Because most of us are greedy. Okay, to be honest. And we want more and more and more. If we are very self-satisfied, Atmarama it is called. Atmarama means self-satisfied. If we are self-satisfied with what we have, then we don't prayasa means hard working, over endeavoring for something more. Like sometimes we do overtime, sometimes we do lot of extra work, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, night jobs, taxi jobs. I'm just giving you an example. I'm not saying everyone is doing it, but mostly we are all working so hard thinking that is the way of life, but it is not. So the way of life is to be happy with what we have and just endeavor only for what is necessary. So that is how we should work. Otherwise, what happens is we will never become satisfied. We want this, we want that, we achieve this, achieve that, and then we want more of this or more of that. Then the list keeps going, keeps growing also. So that is something we can take away from this verse, and it is in Ishopanishad also. This verse, Isha Vashyam Yadam Sarvam Tena Tektena Munjidaha. So that verse comes in Ishopanishad, that's saying that Isha Vashyam principle. That means only do not falsely say here it says he doesn't falsely claim proprietorship over anything. Okay, this is self-realization. So we need to have the self-realization. So science of self-realization is also taught in Bhagavad Gita. So say 72 verse number, I think this is the last verse. Ishabrami sittapartha nainam prapya vimuyati sittvashyam antakalepi brahma nirvanam rajyati. Translation. That is the way of spiritual and godly life. After attaining which a man is not bewildered, if one is situated even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So if we do not over endeavor for sense gratification means you want to satisfy your senses, material senses. You wanted to eat more of this or see more of that, hear more of that, but that is not related to spiritual consciousness, then it is not worth it, correct? So we need to balance. If we do more of material things, then what happens with the spiritual life, it will diminish. So when we get out of this life, we will not be able to enter into the higher platform. Okay, so we will be locked into the cycle of birth and death. So there are 8.4 million species of life. So 400,000 species of human race, and then 900,000 species of aquatics, and 1.1 million species of beasts and birds and things like that. There are 8.4 million species of life. So you could take birth in one of those. Not necessarily we can become a human, unless or of course we have special sukruti to become a human. So human life is very rare, and coming to the spiritual path is even rarer. And then what to speak of following that spiritual path very consciously. So this is this is having this divine consciousness automatically gives us this understanding of self knowledge, the realization of oneself. Therefore, whatever the world throws at us, we will not be bewildered. We just accept, understand, and move on. So, that kind of perceptions we will receive from this Krishna consciousness or this spiritual consciousness. Okay, that is what we learn from Bhagavad Gita. So, we stop here. It's 5 o'clock. So this is end of second chapter, okay? And we will move on to third chapter. But if you have any questions in the past two chapters, if you want to catch up on my previous videos, it's all in YouTube, and you can follow that previous classes. But whatever the glimpse I gave you is what covered in first two chapters. So we are still in Karma Yoga, but still Bhakti Yoga is spoken in every chapter, so that we remember what is best. Even though first six chapter Karma Yoga we are learning, but sometimes you also learn other yogas and compare. Krishna will do that. Okay, I'll stop here. If no questions, I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Any questions, Sangeeta or Vishnu?